Alright guys, welcome back to the Hello World Guy, and this is the start of our new series, and in this one we are actually going to make a mobile game as one of you suggested. So we are going to make a mobile game, and that's going to be really nice. And I decided that we will just make Flappy Bird for for the actual game. And this is going to be this is going to be a three-part series. I think right now my current prediction. First one we will create the main Flappy Bird. Actually, it might actually be four parts, and we will add a couple of effects in the fourth one. In the third one, we will build it and adapt it to mobile. And in the first and second one, we will actually make the game. It might be three, it might be four. I can't say anything right now. Anyways, let's get started by hitting the new project button here. And as soon as you start, just make sure that you have selected the latest editor version that you have installed, and you do not want to use 3D here. You can use 2D, but we are actually going to use this 2D mobile one because it has got settings for 2D mobile development. And for the project name, I'm just going to call it Flappy Bird. Alright, and just select whatever location you want here. By the way, you have also got I think URP ones here, but we are not going to use that because that can be used for giving giving your project a little bit of a graphical push-up, but no, we are not going to do that. Just select this 2D mobile and make sure Flappy Bird and everything is set, and hit create project. Alright, so here is my Unity scene loaded up now, and as you can see, we have got a couple of new assets here, a readme, and you can see that this is a new stuff, but we do not need that. You can just hit remove readme assets and hit proceed, and that should get rid of the extra folders. And if I just save it and let it compile, you should also notice that we have got an extra editor folder here, and in here we have got this one called notification settings, and this has got a bunch of stuff here. We don't need to worry about that right now. It might come in handy later, but we have only got our main scene here, and that's all nice. I'm just going to rename this scene to game and reload, and that's nice. Okay, so in here the point is that we are making a portrait game now. This will be in portrait mode, vertical, not the landscape mode. Therefore we cannot use the camera configuration like this. So for that, I think it's nice if we were to change our aspect a bit. So if I go under here where it says free aspect, and I hit this plus icon here, and for the fixed resolution, we are going to change that to aspect ratio, and make sure that it is a 9 to 16, so opposite of 16 to 9, and just label it as mobile. I'm just going to name it as portrait. Okay, that's it. Okay, and as you can see, this is what happens. That's really nice actually, and this now will actually look like a portrait screen. Resolutions could be different on different mobiles, but that doesn't really matter that much. Alright, so now I think it's time that we get started creating our actual character. First, let me just select this background and make sure that it is like this. Okay, and then because I don't like that blue color for some reason, actually I might let's just make it blue. Let's make it a skyish color. That's nice, and you can see the preview in here. By the way, if I go here, you can also see that, and this is all nice. And what I will do, an important thing is right click and creating our player. So for that, what you might want to do is just create nothing but a sprite. So let's just create a sprite here, call it player, and that's nice. And then make sure that it's at 0 and 0, and then we of course need a rigid body to allow us player to move. And now we need to code the basic flapping behavior for our player. For this, we are going to do something really simple. We are going to go here and add in a box collider 2D first of all, then go ahead and add in a rigid body 2D. Simple as that. Now with this, it's going to work, but what we are going to do is actually right click here and create a new square, and I'm going to call this one ground because we do need a ground as well. So I'm going to make sure that its location in the x is 0, and the y we can decrease it to something like -5, I guess. And then for the scale on the x, you can increase it to scale on the x, you can increase that to something like 8, so that even if the resolution is a little bit different, it doesn't show. And then you can make it greenish dark color, trees and grass, I guess. And if I go in here, you can see it's visible, but I think it's too small. So yeah, going to actually I'm going to just increase it by size to 2. That's really nice. Actually, you can change this to UI sprite, and that doesn't work actually. Okay, so this is all right. So this is our ground here, and if I hit play, then okay, it shouldn't work. Wait for a little while, and then I'm going to add in a box collider to 2D to this as well. And now if I hit play, what you should see is that Flappy Bird, if you call that a bird, it will fall down and stop. Alright, that's nice. So now we need to add flapping. So how can we do that? Well, right click here, create a new folder, of course, because we want to keep things organized, script. And yeah, that's nice. Go here, right click, create a new C# script, call it player. After it's done, just select the player and drag this player script on it. I mean, it's a little bit difficult. Okay, and yeah, that's nice. And now you can just open this script up by double clicking it to open it up in Visual Studio. So after opening it up, I'm going to remove the two using tags up here, and then here we can really just remove this if we don't need that. And just I'm going to add in this required component here, type of rigid body 2D, and this is basically make sure that we always have a rigid body 2D on the player, and will prevent null reference exceptions. And in here, in the update method, we are going to do something really simple. I'm going to say get component rigid body 2D dot velocity is equal to new vector to 0, and for this we are going to use a variable. I'm going to just go up here, add in a serialize field, a private float called jump velocity, and just add jump velocity here. Maybe okay. Let me just rename this to actually just rename. By the way, you can rename anything in Visual Studio by pressing Ctrl R twice. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Anyway, I'm going to just rename this from jump velocity to flap velocity, I guess, because that makes a lot more sense. Oh, by the way, a nice feature is that you can add tooltips here by saying this, and then you can say something like the velocity applied when flapping. And this is really nice. It's not really needed in this one, but sometimes it's really nice if you have got like complicated or bad variable names, or something is just not that clear. These are going to be really helpful. Just a little tidbit. And yeah, that's oh, and this is wrong because we only want to do it when we actually click a button. So we are not going to worry about mobile right now. It's just going to make the game. So I'm going to say input dot just going to say get key key code dot space, I guess. Okay, so if we get a space key, then we are going to do this. All right, let's go here, and after it has compiled, what you should see is that everything is working. So just let it compile for a little while, and yeah, and if I hit play now, what you should see is that we can press space to move. But the point is that currently this is practically 0. So if I set it to something like 10, let's see what happens. Yeah, and no, that's way too much. So 3. Let's try 3, and you can just play around with the values, do something that you like, that feels good to you. Alright, that's enough. I'm just going to make it 4. Alright, with this we have got a basic flapping mechanic done. As you can see, now we can flap, and it feels, I think, pretty good. You could use add force for this, but that's not kind of what I like. And this is really nice. Yeah, so yeah, we have got a complete flapping system now, and that's nice. So I think now it's time to add a death system, so we can actually the game is actually over when the player collides with this here. So we need to add that system now, and it's not that difficult. And for this we are going to use tags, as you can probably guess. And just select the ground, and I'm going to actually go ahead here and add in a new tag here, and I'm going to create a new one here, and I'm going to call this skill player. Actually, I like to use camel case here without any spaces, but up to you. And you can see that this has got a tag here. Now skill player, and make sure that it's set to that tag. And what we can do here is we can add in a, by the way, I just like to have private here. Kind of like to be, it's up to you. And you just add in a on collision enter 2D function here, 2D not 3D. And then in here we have got a collision 2D, not collider 2D, collision 2D of collision, and this is really nice. And what we can do at this point is that we can check if collision dot if we try to do compare tag, it won't work because we need to go collider dot compare tag, and we are comparing the tag with kill player. Then that means that, well, this should kill the player. For now we are just going to set this enable. Actually we can just say destroy this. By the way, destroying this means that we are destroying this component, this mono behavior, not the game object. So if you want to destroy the game object, you need to say destroy game object, but this is destroying this. This means this mono behavior, the component. It will remove the component. And actually, to show you, what I'm going to do is, let me just make sure that I don't fall right now. Just select the player, and sorry, and if you can see that my player is there, and as soon as it contacts, the player script disappears and I can no longer jump. Pretty nice. So we have got a basic system for that working as well. Now we can go ahead to implementing the pipes. Alright, so in order to do that, it's really simple. All we need to do is first of all create our pipe. So by the way, we'll just do the graphics work later. Of course, we are not going to like have this in the final game, but just for now. Anyways, I'm going to right click here, go under 2D object and sprites, and add in a square here. But first of all, I will add in an empty object here called pipe. Okay, and this is square. Just make sure that it's a child of the pipe, and make sure that its location in the z is also 0, and the pipe is also at 0, 0 and 0. And then I'm going to select the pipe and just move it over to something like 8. Okay, after doing that, make sure that of course I need to make this a lot larger on the y, maybe on the x as well, maybe 1.5 on the x, and then 5 on the y. Actually, if I go here, if I just go here, what you can see is that if I increase my size on the y, then I can kind of make it as large as 10. But if I so 5 makes sense, but we are going to set it to 4, of course, because we want a gap between that as well. So just set it I'm going to set this to 3 point something like 3.5. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is duplicate this and call this, I'm just going to call it I don't know, I just call it 2 and 1 because I guess that makes sense. Anyways, this 2 is going to be at negative on the y. As simple as that. I think there's quite a lot of space in between them. This is nice. And if I were to select the pipe and I was to move it, then you can see that it comes really nicely. That's all good. Okay, by the way, I want this to be always on top, so make sure that its order sorting layer is 1. I'm not going to add another layer, just make order in layer 1, and the player I want to be all on top of everything, to make sure that its in is in 2. Alright, select the pipe, and I'm going to right click in my scripts folder here, create a new C# script called pipe. Okay, double click to open it up in Visual Studio, and in here we can remove the start method, and then we can create a serialized field here. It is going to be a private float called speed. Speed is by default something like 3. And what we are going to do here is, first of all, let me remove that. We are going to say transform dot translate. Translate, of course, moves the transform, and we are going to say vector. We are going to just say transform dot left. Actually not transform dot left. You can go vector 3 dot left multiplied by speed, and of course multiplied by time, the delta time, to make it frame rate independent. And this should work. We are using left here, we should move it towards the left, and that's the direction we want it to move. So once it compiles, you should see that it moves at a specified speed towards the left. And let's see, select the pipes, add the pipe script on it, hit play, and let's just see, we will also find out if the speed is enough or not. And as you can see, it is moving and it's coming along nicely, and I think the speed is quite nice. So 3.5, maybe a little faster, a bit more challenging. We are going to first implement a proper difficulty system that increases with time later. Anyways, now we have got a speed here, it's set to 3.5, and now it's moving. Now I am going to just make it a little larger, both pipes, just make them a little larger and a little bit, a little higher and lower, and yeah, like that. And this kind of allows us to move it. We will do that later, but for now this is working. And what we want to do is actually, first of all, have a different color. I'm just going to select both of these and then change the color of them to bluish. We are going to add proper graphics later, as I said before. For now that should work. So yeah, actually bluish won't work because our background is also blue, so not bluish. Just gonna set it to red, I guess. Red is nice. Anyways, this is all good, and now this should work. So we got this, and now it's time for us to add the colliders. Alright, so now for doing that, just select the I'm just going to select 1 and 2, both of these. By the way, just make sure to select all of the pipe and all of its children, and make sure that they are set to kill player. And I'm going to add a box collider to both of these, box collider 2D, because that makes the most sense to me. And after doing that, what you should see is that the player can also die on contact with these pipes automatically, because we use tags for that. And now if I collide, then you can see that 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 was kind of nice. And now the script is disabled, the player does not have that anymore, and yeah, we basically over. So yeah, this is pretty nice, and this is all good. Alright, so now we are going to implement a spawning system for these pipes. Now you might create a separate spawner script to do it, but let's just do it inside the player script, because why not? Yeah, we are going to do it inside the player script here. For this, I think I'm going to add in a serialize field here. By the way, just remove this tooltip, because I don't think we need that. This is going to be a private float called spawn time. Okay, and this by default is going to be something like 1.5, I guess. I don't know. No, 1.5. Yeah, this is 1.5 seconds. In here, we are going to also have a private float called time, which will represent the current time. And what we will do in here, in the bait method, we will say if time is greater than or equal to the spawn time, then that means that we need to, well, first of all, set the time to 0 as well. And in here, we also need to, oh, by the way, just make sure that it is 0 at the start. Okay, come on. Yeah. So yes, this should work. And in here I'm going to what we are going to do is that we are going to spawn a new pipe. So for this we actually need a private pipe, I guess, called pipe. Okay, make sure that it's a pipe. And then what we do here is that just say instantiate. Okay, and for this we just give it our pipe dot game object. Okay, and in for the transform we just give it for that we will actually create a separate transform here called spawn location. Yeah, like that. And then we are going to put our spawn location in here, dot location, dot position. And then for the rotation we are just going to go quaternion dot identity. Come on, quaternion dot identity, which remember means 0 rotation. So yeah, this should work. Now if I just like compile, then what you should see is that we can actually work. So if I just like compile, what you should see is that if I hit play, actually we did not assign the variable. So just go under pipe here. And oh, before we do that, I just forgot one thing. You should after doing this, we are going to every frame just increase it by time dot delta time. In here what we are going to do is when we compile, then we are going to add the pipe reference. And so if I just select my player and then I drag the pipe, okay, let me just select the player, go here, drag this pipe in here, And for the transform, I'm just going to duplicate the pipe, okay, and then delete these two things, and let's just rename this to pipe transform. And yeah, this should actually work. And remove the box collider here as well. I don't know actually why I added that. Oh, I have added a box collider here, by the way, in this gap. We will find out the reason for that soon. And if this should actually work, but there might be, okay, some better ways doing this. But if I just hit play right now, what you should see is that we get a new pipe after every 1.5 seconds. Didn't work? Okay, spawn location has not been assigned. Select the player, go here and drag pipe transform to this spawn location. Now hitting play, this should actually work, so let's just see if it does. And 1.5 seconds later, we should get another pipe. Okay, we do, but they are not moving, it seems, for some reason. Right, okay, the reason is obvious, that this pipe transform has got a pipe on it as well. We do not want that. Okay, because it is also moving. So now what you should see is that everything is working. Yeah, as you can see, pipes are coming, and they are also killing me. So this is all nice. Now one thing that I would like to implement is that I think that we should right click here, create a new folder, call it prefab, because I think that we should make a prefab out of this pipe. So just drag the pipe in here, and instead of setting this to the pipe, we are going to delete that. So we're going to select the player and go here and add in this pipe here. Now this will also allow us to have a little bit of delay before the pipes actually start coming. So what you can see is that currently no pipes are coming, and after a little bit pipes will start coming, and this will also prevent some other errors. So yeah, this is pretty nice, and I would love to do more, but this video is getting quite long, and I'm afraid that this is pretty much it for this video, and we will see you in the next video. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my other channel as well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.